Good morning. Well, I should say good afternoon. Uh, Today I'm going to talk to you about the kind of person my biological mother was. I told you that she sold us to my dad, so she could have uh, her birthday party. Well, not only did she do that, but after Dad got us, she wanted nothing else to do with us. And my great grandpa and grandma, Pop and Mom, they knew if she didn't get us, they wouldn't get to see us. So they worked it out with my dad that we would come over to their house and stay Friday night and Saturday night, and they would bring us back Sunday evening around 6 o'clock. Well, that way they would get to spend time with me and Marvin and Eric. They agreed, they would take us to see Kathy and all this. Well, what they didn't realize was Kathy not wanting to see us. She moved into Gatlinburg and never told anybody where she was living. So my great grandfather would go out and start asking questions, and he would find out where she was living. And so he would take us over there, and we would get to go a couple of times in a row before she packed up and moved again. Now, mind you, we were young. We still loved our mom. And we still loved our mom. So we was happy to see her, but she wasn't as happy to see us. She moved over on Ski Mountain Road, probably about a half a mile up into this little chalet. They rented the upper part of it. Man, we seen her. I think that's when we seen her the most, was like 3 or 4 times in a row. Then she moved again. Never told anybody where she was moving. Then she moved up on Baskins Creek. And then she moved on up on Baskins Creek. Or up on, what's the name of that road? I can't think of the name of the road right now. Airport Road. She moved up on Airport Road. Then they moved out in the country. And every time it would be like 4 to 5 weeks before we would get to go and see her. I mean, she was constantly moving and not telling nobody where she was moving. And we found out later on that we were just too young. We were cramping her style. All her friends wouldn't come over if we were there, and she couldn't do without her friends. Now, this is stories that I got after, I had gotten grown from her friends. So, I don't understand how a parent can turn their back on their child. I mean, you just see my child go through here, and he's 19 years old, and he's got autism. And I've been with him every day of his life almost, except for when I had to go work in Tennessee and places like that. But my son will always be with me, no matter what. Plus, I've got my oldest daughter here living with me now. She's gone with her boyfriend, or her ex-boyfriend, or whatever you call them, Christmas shopping. But anyway, my biological mother, she had no use for us. And like I said, she would move and Pop would find her and he would take us over there. And, you know, she would take us to Gatlinburg. She worked at Shoney's at one time. She took us down there to eat. And we walked in there to eat. Now, mind you, she'd been working there for 2 or 3 years. And the people that worked there looked at her and said, "Kathy, I never knew you had children. Never knew that she had children." Now, what kind of mom is that? I talk about my boy and my kids, all my kids, every chance I get. But she didn't. She took us to Shoney's. She took us to a couple little restaurants, and it was always the same thing. "Kathy, I didn't know you had kids." Now, mind you, when I got up and I was adult age and I was working and stuff, yeah, she wanted to be around me then because I wasn't a burden. I never seen it this way, but she would call me wanting to go out. You know, her and her boyfriend wanting to go out. But yet, I was the one footing the bills. I was the one taking them to the bars. I was the one buying the drinks. I was the one going to Howard Johnson's after the bar to eat and paying for it. And I was the one that had to furnish the gas to get there and back and all this. You know, and it's just, you know, it dawned on me after a few years what she was doing. You know, she doesn't want to be around me. She's using me to be around the people that she can't be around because they don't have a car. They smoked all their money up in weed or drank it up or whatever. They partied it up. They didn't have money to buy a car. But yet she was using me to take her to all these places. You know, now I'm not saying I'm perfect. No, I'm not. Because I've walked out, but I never forgot my kids. Even though I walked out, I'd come back to see my kids. I always did. Now, I'm not with anybody right now. I mean, you know, my wife has got her boyfriend, you know, or I should say ex-wife has got her boyfriend, and, you know, they had no place to go, so yeah, they stay here with me. And now I've got my son and my oldest daughter living here with me too. And, you know, I'm just different, I guess. You know, and the truth, the saying that's out there right now is people that have the biggest hearts get screwed the worst. Well, let me tell you something. That's true. That is very, very true. Because later on I'll tell you some more about how much my heart has got me screwed over through my life. But right now, if you're a parent and you have children, don't neglect your children. Spend every minute you can with them because you will see just how rewarding they are. And you will see just how precious every moment with your child is. You know, like my son, Evan, his name's John Evan Vance Jr. He's named after me. And, you know, he's 19 years old. He's still at home. But now he works with me. We do excavating. He works with me. Nicole, bless her heart, you know, if brains was dynamite, she couldn't blow her nose. But I still love her. My son, Sean, I don't know, I think when he got his real first taste of sex, he fell so deeply in love with it. Now it's getting ready to send him to prison because he was with this crazy bitch, and you know, every time he turns around, she's getting him for domestic violence, and all he's trying to do is see his kids. You know, he's got the heart like I do. He wants to be around his kids. But, you know, she's got the heart like my biological mother. She's going to do whatever she can to hurt him. It ain't a fact about the kids. It's a fact about hurting somebody and knowing that you can do it and get away with it. You know, and it's sad that there's people out there like that. But that's the way it is. You know, and my oldest son, he lives in Washington State. Yeah, that's 3,000 plus miles away. But me and him stay in contact. And I've got 2 stepchildren. Well, I shouldn't say stepchildren, but they're from my ex-wife in the previous marriage, but I raised them. And even though this stuff's going on with me and my ex, they still call me whenever they need something. And they can always call me because I'm always going to be there for them. I don't care just because I wasn't the one that got their mother pregnant. That doesn't mean they're not my children. It's in your heart. It's the heart that counts. It's not the sperm. Anybody can be a sperm donor. But it takes a true heart to give out true love. And I love these 2 children just like they're my own. See, there's Jason, Nicole, Melissa, Sean, Michaela, and Evan. That's 6. 4 are my biological. 2 are my daughters. So, you know, and that's the way it's going to be until the day I die. I don't care if I move back to Tennessee. They need me, I'm going to be there. And there ain't nobody or nothing going to stop me. Now, I'm not saying this to be, to lift myself up or anything like that. I'm saying this because it's true. Melissa's got 5 grandkids, and my partner, we went to my mother-in-law's. Now, I still call her my mother-in-law because she's the best mother-in-law I've ever had in my life, and I always consider her my mother-in-law. And I don't care who likes it or who don't. But Melissa lives with my mother-in-law, and all 5 of the kids was out there, and we went down there to help her fix her driveway because it was leaning, and every time she gets out of the car, she'd almost fall down. She got a bad back, and plus she's 70 years old. And as soon as we pulled up in a dump truck, the kids stopped. And as soon as I stepped out of the dump truck, here come all 5 of those babies. Papaw, 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 running and leaving. I said, son, it looked like a schoolyard of kids coming towards you. Yeah. And every one of them grabbed me and hugged me. I mean, I had 5 kids wrapped around my legs, you know, hugging me. Papaw, I love you, Papaw. Now, how could you not enjoy something like that? Because my biological mama didn't. When Evan was born, we took him over there trying to get her involved with his life. She didn't want that. She wanted her precious brothers, which are useless as tits on a boar hog. She wanted her pot, which gets her high. She didn't want us. So we stopped. You know, and my brother, Eric, seen her at Walmart. She worked at Walmart for a long time. And seen her at Walmart. And he thought he was, you know, going to have a conversation with her. And she said, she looked at my nephew and she said, he's a good-looking young man. What's his name? Don't even know your own grandson's name? That's sad. That's sad. Eric just walked off. Now, my brother Marvin, mind you, he's not wrapped too tight. He got close to her again, but it wasn't because of love or anything like that. It was because of what she could do for him. Because he's like her, he's a user. And, you know, now, when she died, I'm not going to lie to you, they couldn't bury her because between my grandma and my uncles and my brother, they were too dumb to pick out a coffin and set up funeral arrangements. So they had to call me in North Carolina because I'm the oldest child, and call me to come over and help make funeral arrangements. And when I walked in the funeral home, they were all sitting there at the table. And Marie, which is my so-called grandmother, looked at me and said, "What the hell you doing here?" I said, "I come to do something that you all can't. I come here to bury her." "Oh, you just make it sound like it's so much of a hassle." I said, "It's not a hassle." And she said, "Well, you're not going to do anything." And then the guy from the funeral home stepped in and said, "This is her oldest son. He's got more rights here than anybody." And I looked at him. I said, "Sir," I said, what is her wishes?" "Well, she wishes to be cremated." I said, "All right, let's go see the caskets that burn." So we went out there, and lo and behold, now mind you, she loved denim, blue jeans and all this. She had this denim dress that she had made. I don't know, it was like a $500-600 dress, and she loved wearing it to show it off and all this. And there was a denim casket there. I said, "Is this one for the crematory?" He said, "Yes, it is." I said, "That's simple. Go get her favorite dress, her denim dress, and put her in that. Stick her in this casket, show her off, send her through the fire, and then take and spread her ashes." I know that sounds cruel, but you got to remember, there's not a lot of love between me and my mother, or my biological mother. And Grandma looked at me and she said, "Oh, you made it sound so easy." I said, "What's so hard about it? You take her two favorite things and put them together, and you do what she wants." And so we was there for about 45 minutes, and I signed off on it. And they was walking out, and the guy said, "Do you want to see her?" I'm like, "Should I?" My Uncle Bobby, he looked at me, he said, "Yeah, you should." He said, "I'll go with you." Now, mind you, this lady died of cancer. She's 5'10". She's always been around between 150 and 170 pounds, which doesn't sound that big, but for a woman, you know, that's a good size. She wasn't fat, she wasn't too skinny, but she was a good size. I walked in there, and here's a 5'10" bald-headed lady, and her hair was red. I mean, it was always dark red, and it was always down to her butt. But this lady was bald-headed, about 90 pounds, looked like a skeleton with the skin stretched over her. Now, once I saw her, I started crying, because a child's love come back to me. And it just hurt me to see that somebody that gave birth to me had to suffer like this. And it was hard. And everybody told me, when you go in there, be prepared, because it's not going to be what you think. And they were right. It was hard. Now, I love her, and I've forgiven her for everything that she's ever done to me, because I've got a life to live, and you can't live it if you're full of hate. And I'm not going to go through life like that. So, yes, Kathy, I do forgive you. Yes, Kathy, I do love you. You're my mother, But, what you done was wrong. I may forgive you, but I'll never forget. But, it just, it's just one of those life lessons that you go through. And you see how people are when you're growing up. And then you see how God punishes them for what they done. Because you can't be punished in heaven. You've got to be punished here on earth. And she had to suffer. Just like she made us suffer. Now, like I said, if you're a parent, enjoy every minute you can with your children. If you're a grandparent, enjoy every minute you can with your children and your grandchildren like I do. But, life's hard. And I'm not going to sit here and say life ain't hard. Yeah, I've got this tumor. Yes, it hurts. It hurts every day. And I know I'm going to suffer because there's things I've done in my life that wasn't perfect. And I'm going to have to suffer for it. And I'm suffering right now for it. But, this is my cross I have to bear. So, I'll deal with it. And when the good Lord gets ready for me to come home, I'm going home. And there ain't nothing I could do or nobody can do to stop it. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you all have a blessed day. And all I can say is I just hope this touches somebody's life, because I'm not here to brag or boast on myself. I'm not that way. I'm not going to. But I'm here to tell you my life experiences. Hopefully I can help somebody to keep them from going through the same things that I went through. Now, y'all have a good day and God bless.